agile and nimble style. It enables a man to climb like a lizard.
YouTube, this is the hard bastard, and look down on the bottom of the screen, it's almost 2 o'clock in the fucking morning. I was in the midst of, I guess you could say, a personal day. I was, we have a lot of shit going on with the website, and so I didn't really release any videos today. So I was on the couch, just doing some fun shit, and I come across a tweet by H.A. Goodman that stated that the Young Turks dissed him and that he had a response for Jordan Charlton. Now, the reason that I've decided to stop doing the fun shit that I was doing and getting off the couch and fucking making a video at 2 o'clock in the morning is due to the fact that the person from the Young Turks that talked about H.A. Goodman was Jordan Charlton, who I have many times to my audience labeled a credible journalist. Now, in my book, once you lie, you're finished. That's it. And, well, apparently what we have here, I'm not going to play H.A. Goodman's video. You can watch it on your own. He can defend himself, and he doesn't need anyone to defend himself. But what we are going to cover is this video that Jordan made. Now, H.A. Goodman is claiming it's at the behest of Cenk Uglier. I tend to agree with him because Cenk Uglier is a pussy. But there's some things that we have to clarify here. First of all, there apparently among the left is this debate over what is a progressive. I don't give a fuck what a progressive is. I'm not a fucking progressive. Frankly, I'm in the midst of a bit of a metamorphosis politically because the left went crazy and I'm kind of still figuring out my bearings. So I might even be a goddamn libertarian at this point. But a fucking progressive, I do not give a fuck what your goddamn labels are. So it seems like one of the things in this battle, I guess, on the left is that people are using this fallacy of you're not progressive enough or claiming this person is not progressive. It's also being used, as you'll see in this video, as like a fake litmus test, like claiming that people like H.A. Goodman are using this as a litmus test when in fact they're not. They're simply calling out lying. Here is the thing. Regardless of what side are you on, H.A. Goodman is one of the most credible journalists I have come across. He is a progressive. He is to the left of me. However, if you go to his channel, all he does is basically cover similar shit that I do in regards to how the deep state, or whatever you want to call it, lies about Donald Trump's bullshit with Russia. He was probably the premier motherfucker to go to during the election when it came to Hillary Clinton and WikiLeaks. Now, what's fascinating about this is so was Jordan Charlton. But the reason that it's necessary to go over this video at 2 o'clock in the morning is because I have told my audience that I think that Jordan Charlton is credible. And we're going to go over this video because I think his credibility is, at the very least, needs to be questioned. I'll just put it like that until we watch this video. Now, the first 8 minutes of this video, and see, I wonder how to go about this, because on the one hand, I do think Jordan is generally an honest dude, but clearly he has a conflict of interest because he's working for a liar. Cenk Uglier is a fucking liar. I have demonstrated that on this channel. People, or when you hear the Young Turks try to defend themselves, they're like, oh, well, people take us out of context. Did you see why I go over entire fucking videos? Because I know people are going to say that, and what I can easily do is say, I cover the whole fucking video. So I would like you, if you are one of these people, to point out, where have I been incorrect? Give me the timestamp and the video, and I will absolutely fucking address it. But the problem with the Young Turks has been not that, oh, they're not progressive enough, because I don't give a fuck if they're progressive. I give a fuck about the fact that they are liars. They lie a lot. And like I said, you can just go through my videos. There's plenty of examples. H.A. Goodman, because this isn't an issue of right versus left, because I'm to the right of H.A. Goodman. I have not seen H.A. Goodman lie one fucking time. And if you have an example of it, I would love to see it. He is credible, and he is to the left of me, so this isn't like, oh, I'm just picking on the Young Turks because I'm right-wing. The other thing, as you know, is they paint anyone who disses the Young Turks as alt-right. But this is one of the few times where someone from the Young Turks is going or calling out. Frankly, this is not even calling out. This is a outright slander of H.A. Goodman. And, well, let's just begin here.
Oh. Obviously, TYT was kind of Bernie headquarters, if you want to say. During the primary, we didn't pretend not to be for Bernie. And after the primary, obviously, the tone of the show changed a little bit. Cenk Uglier did not change. The show did not change. The circumstances changed. And obviously, they did a lot of Donald Trump. Obviously, they did a little bit less in terms of Hillary Clinton. And a lot of viewers didn't like that. And I was open that I thought they were doing too much Trump.
So what we had, like I said, in the beginning of the video, and I skipped over it, because he basically gave his, like, kind of history, working history, how he met Cenk Uglier, blah, blah, blah. What is, without question here, is Jordan Charlton has a loyalty to Cenk Uglier. Now, before this video, I would always say, I don't know how Jordan works at the Young Turks, because Jordan, up until this video, I was not aware of him lying. He was a credible reporter, and they have one other credible reporter, and that's Michael Tracy. And I would wonder, you know, how does he do this? Well, now you have both things coming to a head. Jordan has to make a decision here. Does he defend the indefensible see, like, I don't give a fuck if you work for Cenk Uglier, as long as because it seems like Cenk allows his reporters, and Michael Tracy even said this, to say what they want. And you know what? That's commendable. And that's great. But now you're in a situation where you're being called upon to defend liars. So are you going to maintain your credibility, or are you going to lie? Are you going to become one of the liars? Let's see.
And Cenk never said a word to me about it. And nobody there said a word about it to me, because that's what being a progressive is supposed to mean. Being progressive is supposed to mean progress, not censorship. Not if you disagree, you're a sellout.
Now, I want to give you some backstory here. There was a video that I did the other day where I covered how the Young Turks, I said 2 out of the 3 were defending what I viewed as the indefensible corruption of the DNC. And they were talking about the lawsuit. Michael Schur and some other motherfucker were defending what I think is indefensible. Defending corruption, in my book, makes you a piece of shit, and I don't view you as credible. Okay? H.A. Goodman is a lot more forgiving of people than I am, but that's okay. He can be. Everyone has their own prerogative. John Adiola, kind of, I mean, he played the fence, but he, at least for the Young Turks, kind of brought up the fact that what the DNC lawyer was arguing was wrong. He still made some pretty fucking ridiculous arguments, particularly donations are donations, but whatever. I at least gave him that credit. H.A. Goodman was not, in that case, as forgiving as I was of John Adiola, but frankly, I have this real sick fucking, like, thing inside me that kind of, I don't know, I have this hope, I don't know why, that John Adiola is going to snap out of this fucking bullshit and, like, become a real, actual, honest fucking reporter. There's just something that I see in him. I think it's almost like at the end of Return of the Jedi, like, you know, like Luke Skywalker's kind of saw the good in Darth Vader. I just feel like Adiola, maybe it's because he's young, that, like, you can kind of see his, like, the truth kind of peek out of him once in a while. But anyway, that's beside the point. What I would have thought, or at least would have not been so outraged if Adiola here was doing Cenk Uglier's dirty work. But Cenk Uglier took his most credible, well, maybe not his most credible, Michael Tracy's his most credible, but his other most credible journalist, reporter, and had him do his dirty work, and I would argue has now put Jordan Charlton in a position where he has to choose to defend the indefensible in Cenk Uglier or maintain his credibility. And even though I like Jordan, even though I had up until this video respected him, you still, just because you're put in a bad position doesn't make it acceptable for you to lie.
Not if you say something and you're not as angry as me, I'm boycotting you.
And what he's doing here is he is acting like the people who had a problem with the Young Turks defending the corruption of the DNC, that the issue is, well, the Young Turks weren't being progressive enough, or the Young Turks weren't being angry enough. No, 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 that is not the issue at all. The Young Turks were defending corruption. You don't get to defend corruption and then claim you're some sort of credible outlet. You don't get to claim to be non-establishment, non-corporate, and then defend the corporate corruption, which is what happened. That is not an issue of being, I'm not a fucking progressive, I don't give a fuck about that label. I give a fuck about the fact that people lie and defend the indefensible. That is what is at issue here. So Jordan is dishonestly perverting the argument from the progressives that have had a problem with this video. Because now, when I made the video, I simply said, I hope that people like Sane Progressive completely eviscerate the Young Turks. And apparently, and I'm not saying that's because I said it, but apparently that has been what has happened. To the degree where Cenk Uglier is like, Jordan, you need to fucking help me out here and kind of settle the shit. Because he knows that the people, a lot of progressives view Cenk Uglier for what he is, a sellout. But they do respect Jordan. And it's fucking diabolical that he would put Jordan in this position. But again, that does not absolve Jordan from what he is about to do.
And that is where we are now. I have seen, and I'm very busy. I was in North Dakota 7 times. I was in Flint. I'm in East Chicago, this and that. So I'm not always watching the Young Turks. In fact, I'm not watching it a lot. But I, personally, have gotten tweets. I've gotten emails. I've gotten phone calls. Direct phone calls from viewers telling me the Young Turks isn't progressive, telling me I should leave, telling me, ranting, trying to rally others against the Young Turks. And hey, I believe in free speech. If you want to say that, if you believe that, then by all means, go.
Jordan, they're doing this because they know you're credible, and up until this point, you've been honest and you have a good reputation, and they don't want to see that tarnished. That's why they're doing that. Because Cenk Uglier is a liar. There is when it comes to independent media, the dishonesty of the Young Turks is probably the most covered thing in all of fucking YouTube. I am not the only person that does this. You could watch probably for the rest of your life coverage from other people on YouTube about how dishonest the Young Turks are. And it's sad that it seems as though you're just going to go along with it.
Go ahead. But you're wrong.
Show us where we are factually wrong about how the Young Turks lie.
You're wrong. So there's individuals, and I'm just going to say it. I don't know them. Nothing against them personally. There's individuals like H.A. Goodman.
All right, let's stop right there. It's very simple. You lie, you're done. That's it. You are no longer credible when you lie. So, first of all, I'm only going to show one piece of evidence of how this is an outright fucking lie. But if you want the rest of it, simply watch H.A. Goodman's video, because he explains all of the other instances where it is impossible for Jordan Charlton to say he doesn't know H.A. Goodman. 10 months ago, Young Turks politics, who's on the left hand? Jordan Charlton. Who's on the right hand? H.A. Goodman.
Hey, it's Jordan with TYT Network, Monday, June 20th. And by popular demand, I've tracked down columnist and journalist H.A. Goodman.
Oh, and you actually called him a columnist and a journalist. Oh, not some guy you didn't know. Not only is this outright disrespectful to a person that has been nothing but fucking credible. Do you know how rare that is? That you would lie about him like that. But it gets worse. Trust me, it gets worse for me to get off the couch at 2 o'clock in the fucking morning.
Who is a blogger or a commentator or whatever.
Oh, I mean, how dare you do that? That's disgusting. You know that that's not the case. And you disrespect him like that. That's fucking disgusting. So, just quickly to my audience. The lie that he just told, Jordan Charlton is no longer credible. Fuck Jordan Charlton. Unless he apologizes and fucking takes all this back, he's out. The only one left on the Young Turks is Michael Tracy. And I hope Michael Tracy does not somehow get a phone call at some point down the line from Cenk Uglier to try to get him to clean up some fucking mess. Something tells me, just based on Michael Tracy's, maybe it's wishful thinking, but based on his behavior in the past, I have a feeling Michael Tracy would tell Cenk Uglier to go fuck himself, but perhaps that's just wishful thinking.
And he was very anti-Hillary in the primary and the general.
So were you. In fact, the two of you were the absolute most credible, fantastic reporters when it came to Hillary Clinton and WikiLeaks.
He was very heavy on the email story.
So were you, and again, both of you were fucking fantastic.
He was very heavy on, essentially, ranting against all things establishment Democrats and that. And to a certain extent, I agree with a lot of things he said. He also said and reported a lot of things that were not factual.
Now, this is where we're getting to the level of unconscionable. This is outright slander. This is an outright lie. This is absolutely not true. I would challenge you to find one instance of this. One. Show me one, because if you can, and H.A. Goodman hasn't retracted it or doesn't retract it, then he's fucking out. This is the thing. I'm not on this side anymore. I don't give a fuck. Shit is so bad in the media, and particularly on the left, that I just like people if they tell the fucking truth. I don't even care what your goddamn politics are. People emailed me, oh, why do you keep defending Sane Progressive? She was on some video where she was talking about SJW. I don't give a fuck about that, because that's not why I like her. I like her because she's honest about Russia. I don't give a fuck if she's an SJW. You can be a fucking SJW, but when it comes to covering shit, because being an SJW, you can be one without lying. I haven't found her to be a liar. If you have, granted, if you have evidence, because I don't have favorites. I have people that I like. I mean, I did like Jordan up until this point, but if you lie, the favorite, I don't give a fuck. Any person that lies, I don't give a fuck who you are. If you caught Sargon lying, I would fucking say he's out. It doesn't matter. People who lie are out. That is it. That's how bad it is, because there's no other thing to go by, because everyone in the media lies so much that all you have is your credibility, and all you have is the fact that you tell the truth. And to have a motherfucker like this dare say some shit about H.A. Goodman, are you fucking kidding me? Now, there's a more insidious point to this. It doesn't absolve Jordan Charlton, but this just shows you the level of scumbaggery of Cenk Uglier, that he basically put Jordan in a position to choose between his credibility and his loyalty to him. That is some fucked up shit. Absolute fucked up shit.
And now we're not based on fact. Straight up. I could do a separate video just going through the list, but I don't have the time.
You're going to need to, motherfucker. Otherwise, you are a fucking scumbag. Fuck you for saying that. You're a fucking liar. Until you prove it, you are a fucking liar.
He was, after the primary, coming up with half-baked theories on how Bernie is still going to win, when there was no chance Bernie was going to win, because Bernie wasn't a candidate.
What the fuck are you talking about? When has he ever... During the election, because, see, I had a concern. Because Hillary Clinton wanted to put a no-fly zone in Russia, I was extremely concerned that she was going to win the election. So every fucking day, I watched H.A. Goodman and you, motherfucker, and also Alex Jones, because I like comic relief in coverage. And frankly, when it comes to WikiLeaks, his shit was pretty fucking credible. I mean, he said the same shit as other people, but we all know what Alex Jones is, and that's not even the issue. I never heard him say some shit like this. He liked Bernie Sanders a lot. But he never, I mean, who the fuck would ever argue that Bernie Sanders could win when he's not a candidate? The level of disrespect here is so fucking insane. I cannot believe you would do this to a person with the stature of H.A. Goodman. And what are you trying to do? Do you really think, this is the other thing, and this is why I left the left, because there's no salvaging this. You have, maybe there's 5 people on the left that are credible, right? And now you have one committing violence and, well, not actual violence, but basically going after the other and slandering the other. That's how bad it is. You have credible people, but because the Young Turks are fucking corporate, because only the corporate Democrats would defend the fucking DNC, you have now put further divisions in an already fucked party where you come after one of the most beloved and respected motherfuckers. And you really think because you fucked up and said Tim Black, that because you say, I didn't mean Tim Black, do you not watch Tim Black, motherfucker? Do you not understand? His homeboy is H.A. Goodman. You think he's going to throw H.A. Goodman under the bus because you said H.A. Goodman is a liar? You better fuck off with that bullshit. Frankly, I would like to watch to see what Tim Black does here. Because if Tim Black does not get H.A.'s back here, we're making a video. Because that's some fucking bullshit. This is an instance where you're going to have to decide to either pledge loyalty to some fucked up bullshit corporate media outlet that pretends to be independent like the Young Turks, or you're going to have to be credible, be loyal to your audience who watches you because you're fucking credible. So we're seeing like divisions within divisions. And now the people that you think were cool, that you think were credible, and I'm not going to say are going after each other, because H.A. Goodman, I wouldn't say went after the Young Turks. He critiqued them accurately about their motherfucking bullshit. Jordan Charlton is going after H.A. Goodman because what Jordan Charlton is criticizing H.A. Goodman for is a fucking fairy tale. He is lying about H.A. Goodman. This is completely, absolutely fucking unacceptable. Once again, if I didn't make myself clear, fuck fucking Jordan Charlton.
And he did this because he was getting clicks. He did this because his following was growing.
His following grew because he was credible and he was telling the truth, bitch.
He did this because there was a very large, angry following of Bernie Sanders supporters that were susceptible to people like him.
So H.A. Goodman's a predator is what you're saying. Oh, how nice. That's just amazing. Okay.
And again, I don't know him. I don't have a personal.
No, you don't know who the fuck. You didn't do nothing. You don't know him. You don't know who he is. Okay.
Issue with him, and I've interviewed him.
Whoa. Wait. You don't know him, but you interviewed him. You don't have a problem with him, but he's a predator? Bro, do you hear what the fuck you're saying? Do you have any idea what the fuck you're saying here? What are you talking about?
He's not the only one, by the way. But this is a Fox News method. And I know because I worked at Fox News.
So not only is he a predator, but he also, let's get this all straight here. You don't know him, but you interviewed him. He's a predator, but you don't have a problem with him, but he's like Fox News. You know what? I will say that the Cenk Uglier retarded line of argumentation, you've adopted very well. You're definitely following in his footsteps.
Identifying an angry, justifiably, by the way, I think Bernie Sanders voters, progressives in general, are justifiably angry because they donated money, they donated volunteers, and they donated their hopes and dreams, and it was a fraudulent process.
So you agree with everything that the people you're criticizing are saying, except, but you're going after them and going off here. I wonder why that would be. Oh, you just decided to attack people that you disagree with? Or maybe you got a phone call from your boss that was like, yo, you're credible And people don't view us as credible, and people are angry because they are discovering, as I've been saying from the goddamn beginning, that the Young Turks are corporate fucking media.
But anger has to also be mixed with reason. Anger...
Bitch, don't tell people how to fucking mourn. There's nothing wrong with anger. Yo, I don't care. You could be making videos angry. You could be making videos happy. You can make videos sad. It doesn't matter. Is what you're saying true, motherfucker? That's all that matters. Nothing else matters.
Has to also be mixed with facts.
I mean, you're taking the most factual motherfucker in H.A. Goodman and claiming he's not factual. That's insanity. This is sad. Like, if I was still on the left, this would be sad. I would be sad about this. Now I'm disappointed, granted, because a person that I held as a bastion of credibility is no longer credible, but I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised. Like I said, Michael Tracy, I love that motherfucker, but if he did the same shit tomorrow, would I be shocked? No, nothing shocks me, but this is some fucking bullshit here.
Anger has to also be mixed with what is the overall record? What is the overall? Right?
Well, if you're talking about the Young Turks, while I will grant you that there was at one time, a history of credibility, that is no longer the case. There has been a long, multi-year, consistent pattern of lying from the Young Turks. And just because you at one time were credible doesn't mean you can get away with years of fucking lying.
So I, by myself, in a year at TYT Politics, I chose not to cover Donald Trump 24/7. I chose that. And I chose that knowing I was sacrificing a hell of a lot of views. I was sacrificing a hell of a lot of subscribers. And
Virtue signaling is beneath you. At least it should be beneath you. But like I said, I obviously made a misjudgment on here. And I will give, there were some viewers in my audience that were basically like, again, I don't trust anybody. But they were like, Jordan Charlton is going to end up just like the rest of them. Well, those of you that said that, you are correct, and kudos to you. But why would we give a fuck what you would, quote, give up? Who gives a fuck about that? I don't understand. You claim that H.A. Goodman is doing things for views, and now you're exploiting the idea that you sacrificed like such a virtuous individual views because you didn't want to talk about Trump. Well, you work for a company that did the opposite and pimped Trump 24/7, and that got them views and money. From what I'm understanding, aren't you a salaried employee? What views, like, how are you, do you have a channel that I'm not aware of where you're making videos and making money? Or are you a salaried employee from the Young Turks? Why the fuck would it make a financial difference to you if you talked about Trump or not when the fucking company you worked for did it anyway? So what are you talking about?
I was sacrificing a hell of a lot of buzz for myself. But I chose to sacrifice that.
You sacrificed buzz. Bro, you got buzz based on the fact that you were credible. And now you're flushing this all out down the goddamn toilet, which is sad.
Because to me, the real story was Bernie Sanders' movement. To me, the real story was the disappearing middle class, and I showed that, along with Emma, on a trip. And do you know who supported that? All the people who are now saying TYT is a bunch of sellouts, now saying TYT is not progressive. You know who okayed me to leave the campaign trail 2 weeks before the election? No reporter in America would have gotten approval to leave the campaign trail. The only reporter for a network, by the way, to go to North Dakota for a story that wasn't going to get as many views, wasn't going to get as many subscribers, and wasn't going to make them as much money.
How does that change the fact that they are defending corruption inside the DNC? Just because you did something good does not mean that you have license to do something bad. Your argumentation is like a child here, bro.
But Cenk told me, go ahead, do it. And I don't agree with Cenk all the time. I don't. I don't agree with the Young Turks a lot of the time. The specific segment this week that a lot of people have been upset about is they did something on the DNC lawsuit. Michael Shore, who I don't agree with a lot. I think he's a nice guy, though. I've met him. He's a very nice guy. He said something along the lines of, oftentimes people who file class action lawsuits are opportunists. And John Iadora, I always fuck up.
First of all, he also said and completely misrepresented the argument, claiming that it's unreasonable for Bernie Sanders supporters to donate, and then if Bernie Sanders changes his mind on some sort of policy, for them to get their money back. That was not what is happening at all. You have a person on a show who doesn't even understand, either doesn't understand the fucking argument or dishonestly changes it, when the argument is that according to the DNC charter, they are supposed to be unbiased, impartial, and that's not what happened. And so they committed fraud. So I'm sorry, like, you can disagree with shit all you want, but when you lie and defend corruption, you're a piece of shit. He might be a nice guy. I don't give a fuck, but he is defending the indefensible. It is not an issue of being too progressive. I don't give a fuck about progressive. And frankly, I doubt that a lot of the criticism the Young Turks got from the left on that video was because he wasn't progressive. It's because he was defending corruption. You know that. And it's disappointing that you don't accurately explain the position.
His last name's John Iadora said something along the line, donations are donations. I don't agree with either of those statements. I think it's a very generalized statement to say, oh, people in general that file class action lawsuits are opportunists. I think that's a generalized statement. There's no doubt.
So you agree again with H.A. Goodman, but for some reason you're doing this. I wonder why that is. I know you tweeted, oh, you speak your own thoughts, and I know that you, for some reason, gave a preface during the beginning of this video that Cenk Uglier definitely didn't tell you to do this. We're not stupid, dude.
Data or facts to back that up. And Michael's my colleague, and I disagree with him. And if he was watching this, I don't think he would care that much, because we could disagree.
I don't give a fuck what he thinks.
Doesn't make him a bad person.
Okay, let's define some shit here. If you misrepresent people's arguments and you defend corruption, you are a bad person. Fuck that. You are a bad person if you defend corruption and you lie. You can defend people and their bullshit like that because you have to work with them. Fine. You know, like I said, I was not one that expected you to call out the Young Turks on their bullshit. However, what I will not fucking tolerate is this idea that you're going to defend their fucking bullshit and then try to take down one of the most credible journalists in the process. That is bullshit.
Do I think Michael is as progressive as I? No, I don't. Does that make Michael a sellout? No, it does not.
How is defending corporate corruption not selling out? What would you have to do to sell out? You're not making any sense.
Does that make Michael a bad person? No, it does not.
Well, that's a judgment call. I don't give a fuck. No. Let's parse this. If you have a disagreement in political positions, that doesn't make you a bad person. But that is not what this is. So while I would grant you the argument, if I were to grant you the argument, that this is simply an issue of different levels of being progressive, well then yeah, it doesn't make him a bad person. But that's not what he did. Well, I don't understand why you keep saying that. He defended corruption. What is the one thing that the Young Turks claim to be against? They're running the Justice Democrats. They are against corporate Democrats and corruption. Yet you are defending corruption. Michael Schur was defending corruption, and you are now defending him in his defense of corruption and claiming that he's not a bad person because he defended corruption. What other method or metric would you go by to determine whether or not somebody is a good person? Maybe I'm too strict. Perhaps I am the problem.
By the way, Michael, which H.A. Goodman and others didn't report, came out and said, I chose my words poorly.
That doesn't even make sense. You either are supporting and defending the DNC, or you're saying they were corrupt. It's one or the other. Either they were corrupt or they were not corrupt. Saying that you chose your words poorly is a fucking, that's like a, what is that? That's like a snake argument. That's complete fucking bullshit.
John, do I agree that donations are donations? No, I think that's a simplistic way of looking at it. Donations aren't donations. If you're a private organization, which the DNC is, essentially, if, let's say, a company did a fundraiser for breast cancer for one of its employees and got in hundreds of thousands of dollars and the employee didn't have breast cancer, that's called fraud, and it's against the law.
That's what the DNC did.
So I disagree with both of them. But you saw people like H.A. Goodman, right? You saw people like Tim Black. I just saw Nico House, who's a friend of mine. I like Nico. Doing all these videos, basically trying to rally the troops, turn off TYT, they're sellouts, they're frauds, they're fake. And they're entitled, by the way. This isn't like me telling you not to watch them. If you want to watch them, by all means.
By all means, you can watch them, but you would just be watching predators that are like Fox News.
I believe in watching as much as you can, getting as many different opinions as you want. But I will say, what they're doing is preying on people who are frustrated, who are angry, who are emotional, and who are susceptible to hucksters.
You claim that a motherfucker is your friend and you talk about him like that? What kind of person are you? Are you fucking serious? And you really don't think the way that the Young Turks cover Donald Trump isn't the same fucking thing? They lie about that dude all the time. I wish I could do something else and talk about some other shit, but it is a constant barrage of fucking bullshit. And as I've said before, the reason that I constantly talk about it is because you cannot have a situation in America where a president is impeached over lies. That would fundamentally alter the fucking country.
I've never seen H.A. Goodman out in the field.
Is that what he even does? Why the fuck would that even matter? Again, you're virtue signaling. I thought that was beneath you, but apparently it's not.
And that's okay. Some people are commentators, and they're in the studio.
Well, then why the fuck would you bring it up?
I've never seen H.A. Goodman get offered multi-million-dollar contracts from a cable news network and turn it down.
Oh, yeah, because, Cenk Uglier's broke. He's not running the most successful independent news outlet. And him getting some sort of multi-million-dollar contract, that's the same thing as if one of the people was offered a multi-million-dollar contract. In addition, why the fuck would that matter? What does this matter? Look, I don't give a fuck what you say about Cenk Uglier. He is dishonest. He lies. It's very simple. I wish he would stop lying. I would love for Cenk Uglier to come out and be like, I don't know why the fuck I was doing it, but maybe it was Al Jazeera. I don't know why, but I am no longer going to lie, and I will now be credible. I will go back to the old Cenk. That would be fantastic. But there's nothing you can say about his virtue that is going to change the fact that he lies.
I saw Cenk Uglier do that. I've never seen Tim Black do that. It's very easy when you're in a studio or your bathroom or whatever and people who you don't think are as angry as you, who you don't think are as true as you, who you don't think are as, progressive as you.
The word you're missing is truthful. You want people to be truthful. The issue is that they are defending corruption. It has nothing to do with being progressive. It has to do with defending corrupt motherfuckers and being total and absolute hypocrites.
It's very easy to attack them. It's very easy to try to paint them as the other or fraudulent. That's very easy. You know what's harder? To be factual.
The Young Turks are one of the most least factual news outlets in existence. H.A. Goodman is one of the most factual journalists in existence. You have lost your fucking mind, bro.
You know what's harder? To add context.
You would need, frankly, I don't even think this would work. You could take all of the context in existence, and it still wouldn't change the fact that Michael Schur and that other motherfucker were defending corruption.
You know what's harder? To play a little devil's advocate.
Why would you play devil's advocate for evil? Corruption is evil. Why would you need to play devil's advocate for the DNC and their fucking fraudulence and their corruption? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't have a problem with H.A. Goodman. I don't have a problem with Tim.
Again, I don't have a problem with Tim Black. It's just that, or excuse me, Tim Black, actually, he meant someone else. Or he got scared and realized, wow, I'm really going after like everybody credible on the left. Nothing wrong with H.A. Goodman or the guy that I call my friend. It's just that they're predators, and they're like Fox News, and they're like hucksters. And they're preying on people's anger. You are an extremely disingenuous person, and that's disappointing because I thought you were better than this.
Tim Black, I don't have a problem with Nico. I think the more independent media, the better. But what I do have a problem is Young Turks, by the way, Young Turks, anchors, reporters, producers, editors, collectively, we make a choice to take a lot less money than you can in the corporate media.
Oh, well, perhaps we're getting to the bottom of what this is all about. The people, don't give a single fuck about the fact that you take less money. Frankly, regardless, you, motherfucker, and anyone in the Young Turks is likely making a lot more than the average person watching your shit. Frankly, this is a bit, I'm not going to say offensive, kind of elitist, kind of virtue signaling, really kind of making you look like an asshole.
Because we are progressive. And we care about getting the truth across.
Well, then why don't the Young Turks do that? Because they don't get the truth across. They lie, they have an agenda, and they have a narrative. And now we are witnessing a once credible reporter being sacrificed at the altar of corporate media. It's sad. There's very few left. Like I said, Michael Tracy is the last one at the Young Turks.
Young Turks, Cenk, made a decision to hire a reporter, and he lost a lot of money doing so. Because...
Do you really think this is going to work? I don't understand. Who are you talking to about this? People... I mean, on the one hand, you've even gone out there and interviewed them. You're talking about the vanishing middle class and blah, blah, blah. Who do you think gives a fuck? I mean, we know you're all well compensated when you compare your salaries to the people. So who the fuck are you talking to here? I don't understand who's supposed to feel sorry for you here. I don't fucking feel sorry for you. Is there anybody here that feels sorry that these motherfuckers are getting a little less shekels? I don't give a fuck about that. Oh, oy vey.
When you build a YouTube channel, right, and there's 0 subscribers, Yet you have all these costs like airplanes, hotels, food, cameramen, editors. You're spending out more money than you're taking in.
Who are you talking about? The Young Turks have millions of subscribers. What, you're talking about the beginning of TYT politics? Oh yeah, that didn't have a built-in fucking base. You're extremely fucking disingenuous, dude.
Yet, these people, because a segment was done and some things were said that you don't agree with, are
No, not things that people didn't agree with. You guys defended corruption.
essentially calling for people to not watch TYT, to not focus, to basically boycott. Because the two hosts weren't as true as them. Well, I guess aren't true believers like them.
No, they're defending corporate corruption.
And I can tell you, folks, you might not agree with me. And you might want to go the other way. But I'm not going to do videos just to keep viewers. I'm not going to do videos just for ratings. I'm not going to do videos for clicks. And frankly, I don't want viewers or supporters or followers who, if dare I say, do a video that isn't as angry as them at the time, isn't as true believer as them, if one day a establishment Democrat, dare I say, deserves credit for something, I'm not going to run it. I'm not going to do a channel where I have to cater to people who only want to see the world in one way.
Do you hear that, folks? I believe what you are witnessing here is the setup for the corporate. Do you hear what he said? First of all, he's a salaried employee. So I don't know what the fuck he's talking about with, you don't need to do anything for clicks or views. You're a salaried employee. Now, the idea that you would say that you would not want an audience to hold you accountable for selling out, because that's basically what you're saying. What you're saying is that you don't want an audience that would be upset if you supported a corporate candidate. Are you fucking kidding me? That's ridiculous. So you don't want to be held accountable for selling out, which is not surprising because you work for a complete sellout network.
Because you know what I believe? I believe there's a real enemy. And it's not the Young Turks. It's not Cenk Uglier. It's not John. It's not Michael Shore. I believe the real enemy is Chuck Schumer. I believe the real enemy is Nancy Pelosi. Enemy peacefully. I'm not talking about violence. I believe the real enemies are the Clintons. I believe the real enemy is Mitch McConnell, is Paul Ryan, is the Chamber of Commerce, is Big Oil, is Big Pharma, is the corporate media. That is...
Bro, you are the fucking corporate media. You might not realize it. I don't know what the fuck you may or may not realize. I do know that you're defending the indefensible and you're lying about H.A. Goodman. But the Young Turks are the corporate media.
This is who I believe is the real enemy.
And if you believe the corporate media is the enemy, then you're working for the enemy, dude.
Because if you're going to listen to these people that I've mentioned about who is progressive enough to watch, who is progressive enough to support, either with your views, your share button, or your money, then you're going to have a really small damn pool.
Well, yes, because there's not that many people telling the truth. And now we have one less person telling the truth that was once credible. But this is not about progressive. You continue to lie and claim that this is about being progressive. This is simply about telling the truth and not defending corruption.
You're going to have a very small pool, and it's going to be a lonely club.
That's okay. I don't care if there's one other motherfucker, because then we'll be able to sleep at night.
But I've worked for propaganda media before.
You work for propaganda media now.
Where what they do is they make a boogeyman, and they attack, saying, you, the person, or the group, or the organization.
Yeah, actually, you make a really good point, Jordan. Yeah, because, you know, what I find is there's this news outlet, actually there's a bunch of them, and they've actually demonized an entire fucking voting bloc. They've labeled them the alt-right, and every single fucking Trump voter is the alt-right, is the other. And if that's not good enough, they have now even, through you, have gone to the point where they're now attacking people inside their own fucking party at the worst possible fucking time and labeling any person that has a problem with the Young Turks defending corruption as an other. This is amazing.
You're not true enough. You're not Republican enough. You're not right-wing enough. You're not religious enough. And now we're getting that here to independent media. You're not progressive enough.
No, you are, again, defending corporate malfeasance, corruption, whatever you want to call it, defending the indefensible in the DNC committing fraud.
And believe it or not, I'm not doing this video because I care or not if you watch the Young Turks. If you don't want to watch the Young Turks, don't watch the Young Turks. If you don't want to watch me, don't watch me. Seriously. People ask me, why do I not run for office? Because I'm not willing to give blowjobs. And I'm.
But you are giving Cenk Uglier, arguably, the biggest blowjob anyone has ever done in the history of YouTube. I am the hard bastard. Fuck Jordan Charlton. Thank you for watching.
And he practiced the lizard style. The lizard is a very agile and nimble style. It enables a man to climb like a lizard.